Founder's Dilemma. The question I often get asked from students is, when should I start thinking about founding a company? Should I do this right after graduation, or should I wait until I get some experience? The answer is always, it depends. Ideally, you start a company when you have favorable personal, market, and career circumstances. On the personal front, you want to do it when you have family support and some cash cushion. From a career point of view, you want to do it when you have broad and deep work experience, as well as experience relevant to the business idea you have. Last but not least, you need to ensure that there are favorable market circumstances where the opportunity is big, the context is favorable, and there are customers willing to pay. What about co-founders? Research shows that only 16% of companies are founded by a solo founder. If you're looking to start a company with others, let's take a look at the implications of having co-founders. There are 3 major R's: relationships, roles, and rewards. Let's start with relationships. Do you found with friends, acquaintances, coworkers, colleagues, or family? Again, research shows that one should avoid having a business with family and friends. In fact, the most successful co-founding teams are ones where the co-founders have complementary skills and know each other well professionally. The second issue is the role of each co-founder and their part in making decisions. People have different strengths, and the founding team has to be clear from the start as to who is the decision maker in the various aspects of the business. Finally, the rewards and how equity is split among the founders. Many first-time founders split the equity evenly at the beginning of the venture, and that often proves to be a mistake. This is because people's contributions vary and people's circumstances change. Take, for example, a founder that is working part-time on the venture, while another one who works full-time. Does it make sense that they both have equal shares? What about a co-founder that is an underperformer, while another who is a superstar? The first thing an entrepreneur should do is to use time-based vesting. Time-based vesting means the company retains the rights to a co-founder's stocks, which is gradually released to the co-founder with the passage of time. A very common scheme used in venture finance companies is 4 years of vesting. In addition, you should think of discussing a milestone-based equity split for each co-founder. With milestone vesting, stock vests upon achievement of stated milestones. For example, 25% might vest upon finishing the prototype, another 25% on shipment of the beta, and the remaining upon final shipment. Equity is not only shared with co-founders, but also with investors in exchange for funding and other resources. Research shows that a founder who gives up more equity to attract investors, co-founders, and employees builds a more valuable company than one who parts with less equity. The founder ends up with a more valuable slice, too. In fact, most founders surrender management control long before their companies go public. 50% of founders are no longer the CEO of their company by year 3. And in year 4, 4 out of 5 entrepreneurs are forced to step down from the CEO's post. Having more investors builds a more valuable company, but giving up equity as an entrepreneur means giving up control over most decision-making. This is precisely one of the biggest dilemmas founders must face, and one that has no right or wrong answer. It depends on which you are more motivated by, wealth creation or by the drive to create and lead an organization. This fundamental tension yields rich versus king trade-offs. The rich options enable the company to become more valuable, but sideline the founder by taking away control over major decisions and possibly the CEO position. The choice to be king allows the founder to retain control of decision-making, but often only by building a less valuable company. For founders, a rich choice isn't necessarily better than a king choice, or vice versa. What matters for success is how well each decision fits their motivation for starting the company. We've discussed co-founders and investors, but what about employees? One of the most important aspects of building a company is creating a great culture. Culture deeply influences the people you attract and retain. At the same time, it shapes how people work together and what they ultimately achieve. Founders create the organization's culture, which is essentially an extension of their style, values, and personality. Employees, suppliers, and customers identify the company by their founders. So, if you are starting a company, you will need to think long and hard about your company's culture. It is quite important to articulate those values from the start and to hire employees and management that fit with those values. Attaining a culture fit should be a top priority. Passing on a fantastic engineer because they won't mix well with others at the company can be a smart business decision. Yet seeing if a candidate is a good culture fit is harder to determine in a 30-minute interview than skill qualifications. You have to create rituals to support the culture that you have set. Various ethnic groups celebrate their culture through rituals such as language, food, and holiday celebrations. You can do the same for your organization's culture. If you value continuous learning, then you need to encourage employees to learn and offer a budget for taking courses. If you value task-based performance, you should help employees to stay late when they need to by offering free meals, office amenities, flexible working hours, etc. Finally, and most importantly, you need to lead by example. You will not succeed at getting your employees to work longer hours if you leave early on a daily basis.